What's going on, everybody out there? Fascinating graveyard. This is the Pacific View Memorial Park Cemetery here in Newport Beach, California on this smoggy day. Yeah, this is not a great day if you demand clean air in your life. But the sky looks way better over here, so let's point the camera over there and not over the smog coming from that cesspool known as my birthplace, Los Angeles, California. Today, we're going to sadly visit the grave of one half of the singing duo, the Righteous Brothers, and that is Bobby Hatfield. He died tragically far too young, in my personal opinion. We'll get into that cause a little bit later in the video. So Bobby Hatfield was born August 10th, 1940 in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Do we have anybody listening from Beaver Dam? Okay, the dark side of Beaver Dam, anybody? Maybe I should go do that. It's in Dodge County, in case anybody's wondering. So when he was foe, as this gentleman 4Extra would say, him and his family, they moved to California, and they would later settle down in the Anaheim area. And he attended and graduated from Anaheim High School in 1958. This guy was an athlete. He played baseball, he played basketball, he played football. He was the co-captain of his football team. And however, his best sport was baseball. As a matter of fact, supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not, supposedly the Dodgers had at least gone to one of his games to scout him out. And he was seriously considering going in deeper into sports and really giving it a go. But he decided that he would rather focus his energy on singing. That was his real passion. He was the student body president during his graduating year at Anaheim. I have trouble sometimes saying that word, Anaheim. He was described by his classmates as a natural leader and well-liked. That's great. He didn't sing, however, in the school choir. Doesn't say anything about him really doing any singing in school, but I'm sure he sung when he needed to. So he wasn't a great football player. I mean, he had the heart. He had the heart. He just didn't have the size, because there was a lot of people that played that position, tight end, that were a lot bigger, stronger, faster than him. So later on, after being the popular kid, he graduate school, so he would go to Cal State Long Beach, and he would later be introduced to a man named Bill Medley. And they didn't know each other. They just had a couple mutual friends. And they would say, "Hey, Bob, you should meet Bill." And then Bill's like, "Hey, you should meet Bob." And they were both singers, and they were both in bands, little bands or whatever. So they introduced each other, or they got introduced to each other. And later on, them, along with three other guys, would form a quintet. That's five, right? Quintet? Is that five or is that six? I'm not sure. A quintet called the Paramours. Now, they were the Paramours, and then they broke off and became the Rolling Stones. Get it? The Rolling Stones. Because the two... It's a stupid joke. Anyways, they would break off and then do their own duo. So how did they get their name, the Righteous Brothers? Well, one night when they were singing in some kind of a lounge or a bar or whatever, they were singing, and a black gentleman got out of his seat and said, "Hey, now that's righteous, brother." And they're like, "Dude," they're like, "Hey, bro, I think that's a good name for our little band, bro." He's like, "Yeah, for sure, dude, for sure." Bill Medley would be the one with the deep voice. "For sure, dude, for sure." And so they went from being the Paramours to just the Righteous Brothers, two guys. Now, their first single that hit the charts and did fairly well was Little Latin Loopy Loo. And Bill Medley said in an interview, because I listened to that interview, and he said it with his own mouth. He said that song is actually written about a real girl that went to Santa Ana High School. I don't know if her name is Loopy or Lupe. But Lupe, if you're out there, these guys, they owe you a couple bucks in royalties. That's just my guess. Anyways, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just trying to say. Anyway, so they were signed first to Moonglow Records. And so they had played a gig at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. And there was another band there playing called the Ronettes. And guess who was there? Yes, you got it. Yep, this freak right here, Phil Spector. He's in the place. And he sees the Righteous Brothers. And he's like, hey, I want to talk to you guys in the back if you don't mind. Now, later on, after Phil Spector signed him to his record label, they would get in the studio. By the way, I will be doing a Phil Spector video eventually, soon down the road. And so they would get into the studio and they would come out with that. I don't think it's their most popular song, but it's probably the one that you think about the most when you think about the Righteous Brothers. The song was called You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling. And so, you know, because Phil Spector was such a perfectionist and a certified weirdo, he spent $35,000 recording that song in 1964. That's a lot of money back then, especially today. I wonder if he flipped out when he realized how much money he was spending to record that one song, but it was well worth it. Now, I heard a couple different stories on that song about who actually produced it. You know, these fake AI articles are really getting out of hand. I don't know, because some article was saying like, oh, that Bill Medley produced it, and that the only reason why Phil Spector put his name on it is when he seen that song was getting popular. Or maybe I might be confusing it with Unchained Melody, which is not a song that either of them wrote. That's actually an older song. I'll talk about that in a minute. But it was Phil Spector's money that was put down to produce that song. So I'm going to say that Phil Spector produced it. I don't know. I could be getting mixed up in producers and shootings and stuff like that. But I think Phil Spector is the one that produced that song, right? And so they would remain with Phil Spector for a couple of years before later on, a couple of years later, in 1966, they gravitated or, you know, moved themselves over to MGM Records. Now, quickly going back to that song Unchained Melody, I wish I could play the song because then you guys would know what song I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the Ghost song, the song from Ghost. And so that song is actually not written by either Bill or Bobby. That's an old song that was written by Hy Zarrett. And the song was for a 1950s prison movie called Unchained, starring Elroy Hirsch, Barbara Hale, and Todd Duncan. And Todd Duncan is the one that sung that song in the movie. But of course, their version is the most popular. Now, I don't really truly know exactly if this is true about if Bill really wanted to sing that song and he just kind of let Bobby, supposedly it was a coin toss. I mean, who really knows what's the truth? But they each decided in their albums that they would each sing one song solo. And that was Bobby's choice to sing that song. And that song has been sung by many people, including Hall & Oates. Did Elvis sing that song? I'm not really sure. But of course, their version is by far the most popular, or at least Bobby's version of that song is the most popular. And so when they were at MGM Records, you know, you're really trying to, you know, kind of, you know, recreate that wall of sound that, you know, that Phil Spector had, that weird layer of sound where people would, and we'll get more into the Phil Spector video about how he made that song or that sound happen. But anyways, so they would later make a song that was, I don't know if it was as big a hit as their last song, but definitely pretty popular in their own right. So that song was called You're My Soul and Inspiration. It's that one song where the Bill Medley goes, "I do you, baby, you're my love and my heart's inspiration, without you, baby." You know, I've listened to that song about 776 times, and I still cannot figure out what that man is saying. Bill, if you're watching, please leave a comment below. Tell me what the lyrics are. Yeah, sure, I can go Google it. But what fun would that be? So anyways, so later on after that, they would break up and do their own solo projects. And then kind of maybe about 5 or 6 years later, they would get back together and do some touring. And of course, Ghost making that Unchained Melody song so insanely popular. I mean, it catapulted them right back into the thick of things, and they basically would tour around the world singing, you know, their old songs. Fun fact, the Righteous Brothers were the only white group that Phil Spector produced, because Phil Spector was into black groups, which is I don't understand why. I guess that's just what he liked. So there's no problem in liking what you like, unless it's racist. Anyways, so let's talk about his death. So the Righteous Brothers were at Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they were supposed to be playing at the Western Michigan University Miller Auditorium on November 5th of 2003. And somebody knocked on his door, and well, they're like, "A curtain call, guys. What's going on?" And he wouldn't answer the door. They didn't know where he was at. So they opened the door, and he sadly was dead in his room. You know, they don't know at first how he died. So they did an autopsy report, and in the autopsy report, it stated that he had a little bit of cocaine in his system, 143 nanograms per milliliter to be exact. Now, 143 nanograms, excuse me. That's not a death. That's not instant death. That's not what they would call a deadly amount. That's what I guess they would call a recreational amount. You know, where you're just kind of recreationally, you're doing it. 900 nanograms, that's considered a deadly amount of cocaine in your system. And everybody, they were like, "Hey, I had no idea that this guy was doing cocaine." Bill Medley, he's like, I have no idea that he did cocaine. Yeah, well, you know, listen, cocaine is not a drug you do by yourself, okay? So somebody knew he was doing cocaine, and everybody was actually so shocked that he was doing cocaine. I'm like, dude, you don't do cocaine by yourself, you do it with your friends. I mean, I not that I would know, because I don't do drugs. Because, you know, as the song said, users are losers, so don't do drugs, okay? Crime, the McGruff, the crime dog, remember him? Yeah, that's what he told me. Yeah, that's what he told me. He also had a substance in his system called verapamil, which is used to treat irregular heartbeats and high blood pressure, which wouldn't it be negated by the cocaine use? He also had caffeine in the system, so he liked to drink coffee. Okay, who doesn't? I do. I love coffee. And he also, his families would, you know, they said to the doctor or the coroner's office that he took Ambien to help him fall asleep. So basically, he died of, I guess it would be cocaine toxicity, but the secondary cause of death, I think that would be the secondary cause of death. The first, you know, cause of death would be, well, he had a blockage in one of his arteries. It was 95% blocked, so he would have needed a bypass surgery if he would have gone to the doctor, if they would have found it in time. 95% blockage, yeah, that's fatal. So you could say, you know, he had a heart attack, heart failure, but the cocaine kind of helped things along. Yeah, no, he had a bad ticker, and unfortunately, the man did not know it. So here we are, guys. The final resting place of course, my shadow is always loving to mess up my. So this is Bob Hatfield right there, where my shadow. Wish I could get my shadow out. There you go, Lamont. Get out of the way, dude. So Bobby Hatfield. Bobby was an amazing talent through his beautiful voice and wonderful sense of humor. Our memories and your unchained melody will live on through eternity. We love you and we miss you. If you believe in forever, then life is just a one-night stand. And that is his wife right there, Linda Hatfield. And I think she had gotten when she found out that he died, basically they're saying that she died of a broken heart because she had gotten some health issues after he had died. So, well, rest in peace to both Bobby and Linda Hatfield. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't ramble too much. And I will catch up with you on the next episode as I close the gate. Catch up with you guys later. Peace out.